Alright YouTube, we are back. So this video, I will talk about the bike. I've had this 4 days. This is the BMW R1250GS A. And after riding it approximately 700 miles in 4 days in Colorado, I have a pretty good idea of what this bike is like. And this bike is one of the ones that's in the running for my next bike. If you haven't watched my previous video, I'm considering buying either the GS, not the GSA, but the regular GS, the BMW S1000 XR, the Yamaha Tracer 9 GT Plus, or the Ducati Multistrada Grand Tour. Those are the four I'm looking at. And after testing this one for 4 days, I want to talk about some of the things, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and whether I would buy this bike now that I've tested it for 4 days. First, let's talk about the good. Comfort-wise, it's fantastic. It's a beautiful machine. It has plenty of luggage. Mrs. RSV4 rode on the back for 700 miles plus, and she says it's very comfortable. The backrest, she says, even though it doesn't look very fancy, but she says it's very comfortable. The creature comforts on it, obviously it's got the push button power, so you don't need a key, you just have a fob. It's got a real good menu. The screen, unfortunately, is not power adjustable. It's got this rotating knob, but that's okay. As I mentioned in my previous video, being a touring bike, this button right here does the suspension settings, and which you don't change very often, but you do raise and lower the windshield. So I would like to see this button be a windshield button and make it electronic, but otherwise it's really good. The brakes are real good. The power is real good. It's got power down low. You can lug the engine at 3,000 RPM. And it pulls real good. It's got fog light, crash bars already installed. The machine is a really good bike. This one sits really tall, but the suspension button, you can raise and lower the suspension, or you can put it on auto and it'll do it on its own. I tried that at first because that's what it was on, and it was fine, except it would not lower or raise at weird odd times, and sometimes I found myself tiptoeing. If I'm on this bike by myself, I can almost flat-foot it. Almost, not quite. But I don't have a good solid plant. If I have a passenger, then I can flat-foot it. And that's in the low setting. The high setting, I'm on tiptoes. This bike is very top-heavy. I think it's got a 9-gallon tank. I'll put it up here on the screen for exactly how many gallons it holds. But it's very top-heavy. The pro side to that is you can go a long ways. If you have a full tank of gas, it shows a range of 384 miles, which is fantastic. The luggage system is great. It opens front and rear, so you can flip it backwards, or you can flip it towards the front. And it also comes off, so you can unlock it here and take it right off. Now let's talk about some of the bad. Oh, before I would do that, 2 more really cool features. Number 1, the cruise control, very easy to operate. You just flip it to the left, and then whenever you want to set it, you just flip this button forward. And then if you want to slow down 1 mile an hour, you pull it backwards or speed up, and then you can cut it off. Real easy to use. It's got heated grips, heated seats. Mrs. RSV4 tried it out. But one of the other cool features that I found, and it comes in really handy on this bike, is a hill hold. So if you squeeze the brake twice, real good, it'll throw up a light on the dash. It'll say H, a big green H. It'll hold the bike on the hill, so you don't have to hold the brake or put your feet down. Well, you have to put your feet down, but you know what I mean. You don't have to like sit there and hold the bike and your right leg up on the brake pedal and just hold it. It makes it real easy to start off when you're going uphill too, because it holds it until you start letting that clutch out and give it gas. So I've been using that, and that's really good. All right, let's jump into the bad. The bad, number 1, and this is really the worst thing about this bike, the buzziness. This thing at about 4,500 RPM and above, the buzzing in the handlebars is ridiculous. It is that 2-cylinder, boxer engine, and I kind of expected some of that, but it's bad. After riding at 700 miles plus in 4 days, I can tell you that my hands were going numb. Mrs. RSV4 said yesterday that it wasn't that bad, or I'm sorry, the day before. But then yesterday, after talking to her about it, she said she can feel it too, especially in these handrails. These handrails, she says she can feel them. Not so much on the seat and her rubber foot peg. Mine doesn't have the rubber inserts. Hers does. So she said the foot peg wasn't that bad, but on here you can feel it. She says it does irritate her. It really irritates me. And cruising at 75, 80 miles an hour, it's pretty bad. It makes my arms go numb into my shoulders. So I don't like that. The other thing I don't like about it is the height. Obviously this is the GSA, so the GS would be a little bit lower, so that's good. So I guess if I had to get one, I would get the GS. Also, these Michelin Anarchy tires, these are the Adventures. I would never get these. These suck. I don't know if it's just because it's worn in funny. It probably won't show up on camera, but it's got some gator backing going on, and on the back you can see it's got a big lip right here. It's almost like flat in the middle and then a big lip right here. Every time you lean, it just very, very squirmy. The other thing I don't like about it is this 19-inch front wheel. When you hit one of those grooves in the road during like construction, it really makes the front wobble. Not bad, but pretty noticeable. Otherwise, I think the bike, it's a great looking bike. I think it's a great machine, and I can see why now thousands and thousands of people have been buying this bike and love it. And some people buy it over and over and over and trade up to the newer models. For me though, I think this is going to be a deal breaker on this bike, mainly the buzziness, because I don't think if I bought this bike, I don't think I could live with that buzziness day in and day out. So I think that in itself is probably going to be a no at this point. So I think this GS is going to be off the list of bikes to buy. So now I'm left with the Multistrada, the Yamaha Tracer 9, and the S1000 XR. And so we will see. And Mrs. RSV4 agrees that this bike might not be in the running. She's going to do a hard no on this one. So that's the video. That's my sum up of the GS, the GSA 1250. I hope you liked the video. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. Thanks for watching.